Time-appropriate greetings everyone and welcome back. This video is going to go into more detail on using cell references in Excel computations. I'll remind you that each cell is named by its row and column. For example, this cell's name containing the data Trent is called B3 since it's in the B column and in the third row. We can use cell references to use their data in computations by clicking the cells or just directly typing their names. Let's consider these data on 5 employees at a startup. We know their salaries in column E, and we know their bonus percents in column F. Let's add a column for bonus in dollars. Let's calculate how many dollars each employee is going to get as a bonus this year. In cell G2, let's type in the computation for Angus's bonus. We start a computation with the equal sign, and his bonus will be calculated as the salary times the bonus percentage. Angus's bonus will be $2,204.85 this year. Notice that Excel has correctly chosen to display this as a currency. Let's do this with Jim's salary too. We start a computation with equals and multiply his salary by his bonus percentage. Jim's bonus is only $686.82 this year. If you have to repeat a computation for many rows or columns like we have to here, you can have Excel automatically copy the formula to every row or column. This can avoid tedious work and human error. Instead of typing the formula over and over again, instead just drag the formula down from the autofill handle in the lower right hand corner of the cell. Again, the cursor turns black. We click and we drag the black autofill cursor, and notice that Jim's salary is computed exactly the same way, but all of the other ones, the cell calculation was updated to bring the row number down. In Angus's calculation, it used row 2, but in Joy's calculation, it knew to use row 5. This is what the autofill handle does when dragging computations that use cell references. Let me undo this calculation and show you that instead of dragging, we can simply double-click the green square to have Excel intelligently decide what and where to drag the formula to. Be sure to double-check that Excel has decided correctly after you've done it. For example, we double-check that the cell references are exactly as we expect them to be. Salary times the bonus. I've entered the salary and bonus percentage data as columns instead of rows to show you that the cell reference dragging works in both directions. We start by pressing equals to start a computation and multiply the salary by the percentage to get the bonus of $2,204.85. We select that formula and smart drag it across, and the bonuses are computed. This time it will update which column is referenced instead of which row. When dragging downwards, the row numbers increase from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, whereas the columns are the same. When dragging columns, the columns increase from A to B to C, whereas the row numbers are staying the same. Sometimes we don't want a row number or a column letter to change when we drag a formula. To keep it in place, or to fix the cell's reference, is done using $signs. A $sign in front of the row number will stop the row number from changing, and in front of the column letter will stop the column letter from changing. Let's do a couple of examples to demonstrate why this could be useful. Let's say that the profit share bonus for employees is calculated using a percentage of the company's profit. This bonus is on top of any other bonuses the employees get for the year. The profit sharing bonus this year has been determined to be 1%. Let's calculate the profit sharing bonus for each employee. We start by making a profit sharing column for each employee. Each employee will then receive 1% of their salary as a profit sharing bonus. We calculate this by starting with an equal sign and multiplying the salary by the profit sharing percentage. Angus will earn an additional $734.95 in profit sharing. If we drag this formula down, we notice that some of the cells are now empty. Investigating why this happened, we double-click one of the cells and see that the formula is no longer referencing the profit sharing percentage. The formula no longer references the profit sharing percentage because when we moved this formula down 2 rows, it also moved the reference to this cell down 2 rows. Since the profit sharing percentage is here only once, we don't want this to move down when we move this formula down. To prevent the reference to the profit sharing percentage in B14 from moving up and down, we fix the row. To fix the row, we go to the original equation and we put a $sign in front of 12. This tells Excel that no matter what happens, no matter how I drag this equation, the reference to that cell will not change row number. When I pull it down, the row will not go down. If I were to pull it up, the row would not go up. The B can still change. If I go from left to right, the column would still move over, but we're not moving it left to right, so that's okay. We hit enter and finalize this equation. Now when we drag this down, we notice that the profit sharing bonuses are correctly computed. We double click some of these equations and we see that even though we've gone down 2 rows in the profit sharing column, the reference has stayed put in the 12th row. That's because the $sign in the original reference equation told us do not move from row 12 when you drag this equation. Notice that the reference to the salary doesn't have any $signs, so it still moves freely when we move up and down. This would have worked identically in the case where the salaries and bonuses are all in columns like down here. Let's demonstrate this. I'm going to compute the profit sharing bonus in this cell, start with an equal sign, and multiply the salary by the profit share percentage. This time I'm not going to let the B column move. When I move from left to right, I do not want the profit sharing to also move left and right. I click and I drag this formula across, and even though I moved 2 over, the profit sharing reference did not move because the $sign told me that this is not to move from the B column. A reference is called mixed when it's of this form, a $sign on either the column or the row, but not both. In this case, there's a $sign on the column. For the first case, the fixed reference was on the row, so this is also a mixed reference. An absolute reference puts a $sign in front of the B and the 12, the row and the column, and wouldn't move in either direction. Let's quickly look at what that looks like. I'm going to demonstrate absolute references with a very pathological example. All I'm going to do is I'm going to print the profit sharing percentage, but I'm going to print it in a 3x3 grid. Because I'm moving left to right, I need to fix the B so that it doesn't move over when I move this over. Because I'm going to move it up and down, I also need to put a $sign in front of the 12. I can now drag this across and notice that the column reference has not changed even though I've moved from left to right. And I'm going to show you a little trick. You can actually select an entire group and drag the entire group down, and notice that even though I've moved up and down in the rows and left to right in the columns, the reference to the profit sharing has not moved. Mixed and absolute references are a key concept in this course that are used frequently and widely across spreadsheet applications.